the negative. Arcus said that he understood him. Then he looked down at the floor, adding that one could not be sure that the inhabitants of their settlement would be able to afford it, noting that it was very difficult to make a decision, and they could not charge such a high tax. The hero smiled slightly, saying that if they constantly raised the tax, it would be robbery. What were they losing? Because they would work hard, and they could suffer losses if the amount of tax paid decreased. The Baron looked at the protagonist with curiosity, asking how exactly they would raise taxes then. Shaitan said that everything was simple and they would allow them to earn more money. The protagonist presented an image of a swamp, saying that the abandoned land in the north of the settlement, they would turn the Merez wetlands into a farm. The young gentleman smiled confidently, raising his index finger. He said that they would give it to the people and they would grow different crops, make a lot of money and pay taxes. There was a beautiful orange sunset in the sky. The protagonist stepped on the water. Lloyd and Xavier walked through the swamp. Xavier noted that it had been several hundred years since this land was abandoned, asking how people would be able to grow anything in such a place. The brown-haired man said that his big boss had an idea. The guy grinned in confusion, thinking that he said so, but it would not be easy. The protagonist was sitting near the sand filled with water. He noted that many things need to be taken into account, because the territory is not small and they need to come up with a system for carefully draining rainwater. The protagonist made small walls out of sand, noting that there was no other choice and would have to simulate a possible option. The protagonist was sitting in the middle of water and land. Lloyd asked what if he did this, noting that it was a failure. The young gentleman asked what might be too high, and then perhaps like this, noting that he had messed up again. The sun was shining brightly in the sky. The protagonist was assembling a tower out of the ground with an exhausted look. The Baron and Xavier were watching what was happening. Arcus asked how many days had passed. The swordsman noted that it had been 21 days. Xavier looked at the Baron and said that he barely ate or slept, asking what he should leave him. Arcus said that there was no need to do that. The protagonist stood with a shovel and a bucket in his hands. Arcus said that he